Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Vasil Dikov. I'm a Senior Account Manager with GDMFX, and I'll bring you today's morning outlook. We will start with the North American markets and the events from them. We had the 10-year note auction from the USA, which came out at 0.055%, less than the previous, which was at 1.710%. The monthly budget statement was 6 billion weaker than the expected at 106 billion. And the dollar continued its decline with little market moving data on the economic calendar. Analysts said the move was due to largely technical factors. The buck's recent gains were seen as a brief correction to the US currency's sharp weakening so far this year. Investors are now focused on April's retail sales report, expected Friday morning Eastern US time. The Dow was 16 points down yesterday. The Nasdaq was 40 points down, and the Dixie was down to 93.91 from 94.13. The US dollar was with 85 pips down versus the Japanese yen. This was the biggest mover on the charts. Today we're going to have the initial jobless claims and the import and export price index for the month and the year. Moving on to the European Union and the European markets, with no market events to drive the price of the euro in a certain direction, investors were largely left with technical analysis for their daily trading. We had the DAX 30 open with a down gap of 50 points and ended with 150 points down in total, and the CAC 40 is down with 49 points. The biggest mover on the chart was the euro versus the Australian dollar, up with 102 pips. Today we're going to have the industrial production seasonally adjusted for the month from the euro area, industrial production for the euro area for the year, and from Germany wholesale price index yearly and monthly. Moving on to the UK markets, yesterday we had the manufacturing production on a yearly basis. It came out at minus 1.9%. No change there. Industrial production for the year was 0.2% better than expected at minus 0.2%. Manufacturing production on a monthly basis 0.2% weaker than expected at 0.1%. Industrial production on a monthly basis 0.1% weaker than expected at 0.3%. The NISR GDP estimate was unchanged with 0.3%, and the RICS housing price balance was 4% better than expected at 41%. Now the sterling was little changed against the dollar, and it extended its losses versus the euro, as data from the industrial and manufacturing sectors showed that they performed worse than expected. With economic data supporting the sentiment that the UK's economy is in a state of a cool down and the Brexit referendum just around the corner, there is little reason to go bullish on the pound. Nevertheless, in the upcoming months we may see sterling jump to 1.52 versus the dollar if the Britons choose to remain part of the European Union. From there on, investors will shift back their attention to the economic data and the economic performance of the UK. The FTSE 100 index lost 12 points and closed at 6,101 yesterday. The pound was 130 pips down versus the Japanese yen, 100 pips down versus the Canadian dollar. Today we're going to have the Super Thursday, which is going to include an interest rate vote from the Bank of England Asset Purchasing Facility, the Bank of England minutes, the Bank of England quarterly economic bulletin, and the Bank of England Governor Mark Carney is going to be giving out a speech. Moving on to Asia, we had the foreign investments in Japanese stocks, which came out 1 trillion yen weaker than the previous at minus 434.6 billion yen. Foreign bond investments 714.4 billion yen, less than previous at 217.3 billion yen. The Echo Watcher survey outlook 1.2 points weaker than the previous at 45.5. The Echo Watcher survey current is 1.9 points less than the previous at 43.5. Asia's equities spared losses. Prospects for more monetary stimulus in Japan weakened the yen, and the crude oil held above 46 a barrel. Bank of Japan Governor Haruhiko Kuroda said the central bank can still ease its monetary policy substantially if necessary, in an interview with the German financial newspaper Untitled published on Wednesday. Mr. Kuroda said the effects of the QQE program, along with negative rates, are already very clear in financial markets, but we have to wait a few months to see the effects in the real economy. Discussing the postponement of achieving the Bank of Japan's 2% inflation target, Mr. Kuroda reiterated the importance of energy prices. Excluding energy items and fresh food, the inflation rate is at around 1%, Mr. Kuroda said, noting that we have only gone halfway, but we are absolutely on the right track. If we haven't introduced our new policy in January, the yen would have appreciated even more, Mr. Kuroda said. The Nikkei 225 was down with 284 points yesterday. The pound versus the yen again was the biggest mover, down with 130 pips. The dollar versus the Japanese yen was down with 80. And finishing with the commodity section of the market, the EIA crude oil stock exchange unexpectedly fell by 3.41 million barrels in the week it ended on May the 6th. Market analysts expect the crude stock rise of 714,000 barrels, while the American Petroleum Institute late Thursday reported a supply gain of 3.5 million barrels. The U.S. crude futures staged a dramatic reversal on Wednesday, reversing territory after the unexpected draw in crude stockpiles last week pushed oil prices back near 2016 early highs. Oil prices fell on Thursday, dragged down by the gradual return of Canadian oil sands output, reversing a sharp rise the previous day. Gold futures were higher in European trade on Wednesday after falling for 2 weeks lows overnight as investors continued to monitor movements on the US dollar. The S&P 500 index had a range of 20 points down to 2,062 right now. Gold had a range of $15, it's at 1,271 right now. Silver had a range of 49 cents at 17.32 right now. Crude oil had a $2.50 range at 46.16 right now. And natural gas is trading at $2.13 at the moment with a range of 7 cents. By the rest of the week, today we're going to have the EIA natural gas storage change, and on Friday the Baker Hughes oil rig count. That is all from me. Have a nice day and good luck with your trading.